Okay. That's it. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the media, good morning.
Good morning.
We have a statement that we're going to read here, but just for the information of those who are not Kenyan. I'm accompanied here with my running mate, Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, the chairman of my campaign secretariat, Honorable Salim Mudavadi, the deputy, Honorable Johnson Mudama, and our legal counsel, Honorable James Orengo. This is a briefing on the presidential elections, and the heading is, "We got them." Fellow Kenyans, ladies and gentlemen, one, this election was not always about me. Throughout my travels across the country, I have felt the conviction it was about the deepest values which bind us as a nation. I therefore would not be motivated to find in these elections anything that puts us apart. Elections have a coalition-building purpose. Two, I have called you today to have a deep reflection on what I regard as a historic moment. Yesterday, the 8th of August 2017, Kenyans held the second election under the new constitution of 2010. I bring to you this information not just as a candidate in the election, but as a citizen who has made some contribution in building this nation. I do this out of an obligation to Kenyans and out of a deep conviction to the highest values that ought to bind us. 3. Democratic elections are based on the basic principle that the sovereign are the people. It is not a show for those who stand for election or those who run it. Some persons have taken an audacious attempt to overrule the power of Kenyans to choose their leaders. 4. Out of a scheme organized over apparently longer period, some persons conspired and executed a scheme to deny Kenyans their democratic right to elect their leaders. From the information in our possession, which we will share with you, some persons gained entry to the IEBC election management database and assumed the role of our collective sovereign. 5. While Kenyans were bearing the long queues to determine their destiny, the conspirators began the execution of their plan. At about 12:37 p.m. on the 8th of August 2017, hackers gained entry into our election database through the identity of Chris Musando, is the late, who was executed barely a week ago, into the account of Mr. Chebukati, the chairperson. This is highlighted at page 52 of the document annexed to this statement. You are going to get copies of that document. 6. They gained full entry into the IEBC systems, acquired powers to write their will and drop the people's voice. They created errors in the IEBC core server, as highlighted at page 2 of the document annexed to this statement, that allow them to turn a democratic process into a function of a formula. At 12:38 p.m., they introduced several programs, extra DLL, version of 2009, to execute stored procedures in the library and the memory of the IEBC database intended to manipulate the data. B. At 12:38 p.m., they loaded an algorithm, which is a formula to create a percentage gap of 11% between our numbers in the presidential race. You see, that 11% is a constant. C. At 12:41 p.m., they switched on the read and write option on the IEBC 2017 presidential election database, giving them power to add or delete anything in the IEBC database. At the same time, they set the data correlation organization to off. In doing this, they effectively disabled the system from detecting data, date and time. D. Again, at 12:41 p.m., they set the auto-update statistics as seen to off for database option IEBC Presidential 2017 as highlighted at page 4. In doing this, they made sure that record sent from the field would not be reflecting on the system. At 12:41, also the database option disable broker was switched on. This was to disable the database from tracking the events happening in the database. E. At 12:41 p.m., they set the reclusive triggers to off for database IEBC Presidential 2017, highlighted as page 4 of the attached document. Switching those off ensures that the database would not keep record of anything. Then the quoted identifier was switched to off to easily manipulate the database. Then at the same time, they switched the numeric roundabout to off for database IEBC Presidential 2017 to minimum and a fixed figure of and avoid rounding off values. F. At 12:41 p.m., they set the concat null yields null to off for IEBC Presidential 2017. This prevents populating the database with null values. G. The auto-update statistics was switched to on to enable updating of values in tandem with their program. H. They switched auto-create statistics to enable their program traverse the database, updating it with their sets of desired values to avoid trace. 7. Within just over 12 hours, this attack on our democracy affected the presidential elections in all the 47 counties, both in the live process and the backup. And these counties, Mombasa number 1, highlighted at page 5, Kwale, page 7, Kilifi, page 8, Tana River, page 9, Lamu, page 10, Taita Taveta, page 11, Garissa, 12, Wajir, 13, Marsabit, 13, 14, Isiolo, 14, 15, Meru, 15, 16, Tharaka-Nithi, 16, 17, Embu, 17, 18, Kitui, 18, 19, Machakos, 19, 20, Makueni, 20, 21, Nyandarua, 21, 22, Nyeri, 22, 23, Kirinyaga, 23, 24, Murang'a, 24, 25, Kiambu, 25, 26, Turkana, 26, 27, West Pokot 27, 28, Samburu 28, 29, Trans Nzoia 29, 30, was Gigishu 31, 32, Elgeyo Marakwet 32, 33, Nandi 33, 34, Baringo 34, 35, Laikipia 35, 36, Nakuru 36, 37, Narok 37, 38, Pajero 38, 39, Kericho 39, 40, Bomet 40, Kakamega 40, 41, 42, Vihiga 42, 43, Bungoma 43, 44, Busia 44, 45, Siaya 45, 46, Kisumu 46, 47, Homabay 47, 48, Migori 48, 49, Kisii 49, 50, Nyamira 50, 51, and Nairobi 51. This also affected the results of all other elections, including the gubernatorial, senatorial, the women rep, the members of parliament, and the members of county assembly. 8. My countrymen, there's always been common knowledge that Uhuru Kenyatta's regime was a fraud. This takes Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto's fraud on our morality to another level. But you can only cheat a people for so long. This information gives Kenyans the trail of the hacker. How he arrogantly walked into the IEBC database, took control of the entire electoral process, manipulated the data, and published facades for a result where we all just wanted to celebrate our democracy. What the IEBC has posted as results on the presidential elections is a complete fraud based on a multiplier that fraudulently gave Uhuru Kenyatta votes that were not cast. The electoral fraud and fabrication of results was massive and extensive to the extent that the results of the 47 counties were manipulated. And as I've seen, you have uncovered the fraud. Uhuru must go home. The IEBC must be fully accountable. The will of the people is unstoppable. We are the superior one in the clouds. 12. Most profoundly, a Kenyan with excellence career in public service had to die. President Sando's blood has been shed on the altar of the thirst for absolute power. As the officer responsible for elections, President Sando had to access as the super user, had the access as the super user who has all access and can edit other users or alter data. His logins were used to gain access into the IEBC core server and freely alter election data as they pleased, forgetting one key element: turning off the logging. The team. The 2017 general election was a fraud. In his words, Uhuru said that he did not need voters to win an election. And this he said in Turkana, repeated it again in Macron. The hacking has definitely affected the results of the 2017 general elections. It's a tragedy of monumental proportions and a total disaster. We do not need him as our leader. And I say this on behalf of all those who participated in the rest of other elections: MCAs, members of parliament, women reps, senators, and governors. All those elections are affected by this fraud. God bless you. God bless Kenya.
What is your response to this, please?
This is the complete the print out of how they gained access into the IEBC server, how they manipulated, who did it, how it was done, at what time, who they were. And I will invite now our ICT experts to come and explain to you in detail.
As he explains. Yeah.